Let the gods decide indeed. Let the gods decide indeed. Y'all, A Night of the Seven Kingdoms, episode 4, entitled Seven, was the best episode of the season so far. I've said this twice in a row, but it's true. Y'all, the way that this episode had me on the edge of my seat, it was beautifully acted. It gave you all of the nostalgia in this one, and we're going to break it all the way down. And not for nothing, but Baylor is definitely Bay.
Only apply that. Get it, don't be timid when you ain't apply that. Love a bone, give along, leave it. I don't want no trip, baby, spend like it's
My name is Ashley, and this is My Sweet Perspective, where I give my take on all things TV and movie related, and I am here to put you on, okay? You guys, welcome back to the channel. You guys know what it is. They dropped this episode early because of the Super Bowl, and so I figured, why not come Sunday and drop my review, and then we will move up our live to Monday night instead of Tuesday night this week to discuss it as a panel. But as the episode opens up, we know that Dunk is being held captive, right, because of his crimes against the crown, because he drop kicked Arian across the street for breaking a black woman's fingers. All right. And so Dunk is our writer. He's down there very confused because not only is he being held captive for attacking one of the Targaryens, but also there's this thing about Egg. Egg lied to me. What was his motivation? Why would he do something like this? And so he's sitting down there, and immediately the scene opens and Egg is there, and the servants have brought food. Egg is all of his royal regalia. He looks amazing. Little Egg is just so adorable, suited and booted in there. And he's like, my uncle sent me down here to apologize and beg your forgiveness. And he's like, my uncle's Baylor the Just and is okay. And so they're talking, and Egg is like, I didn't know what I was doing was wrong. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. And so we get the backstory that Darren didn't want to be on the list. He did not want to fight. That was not his motivation. And so his plan was for he and Egg to hide out in the inn until after everything was over. Then they could go home and he could mind his business, because Darren, we later find out, is plagued by his dreams, honey. He's a seer. He got the sight. All right. And it's wearing him out. We remember, if we go back to episode 1, the interaction he has with Dunk was, I dreamt about you. Get the hell away from me. I don't want to be anywhere near you. Right. And so Egg is talking and he's pleading his case. And Dunk is at this moment making Egg take accountability, because what you're not going to do is say you didn't know anything was wrong. You didn't know what you were doing. You knew how dangerous this was, yet you just wanted to go and see the game so bad and to squire for someone that you put everything else to the wind. So my sweet baby Egg, and again, Dunk, not too much on him, but I think he gave him enough. I think he gave him enough rope to just to say, hey, this is the problem. You did this. You need to acknowledge this, and then we can move on. But I do think Egg needed to feel it in that moment, because he can't move about his life like that, right? I think being of a noble house and having so much power, being from the ruling house, anybody who comes into your plans can end up being a pawn and end up being taken out. And so I really, although I thought it was harsh, I do think that Egg needed that to figure out how he needs to move in the world freely. And so now he's like, my uncle wants to talk to you. We need to figure this out. And so Dunk and Baylor have a meeting, and Baylor is like, listen, they want your head on a platter. It is what it is. And Darren, to add insult to injury, said that you absconded with Egg. And that's why he ended up in your, because you took him. And he was like, so I took him, but Darren didn't give chase. He didn't go looking for his little brother. He didn't do any of those things. And it was very much like, he didn't. And so Baylor knows what time it is. And Egg is in the room as the cupbearer and basically says, I wanted Dunk to kill him. I wanted him to kill Arian. And in this moment, I think we get more insight into really who Bay is and how he fits into the family, because he says, your acceptance tell us when we're little that we need to love our brothers. And you could tell he got that message first, right? And it's something he's been grappling with because we know Makar is just useless, and yet it's still his brother and it's still family, and we have those familial ties that bind. And ultimately, we're going to see that tested. He has to admonish Egg, but I think there's a knowing, right? In that moment, I know Arian is a terrible monster, yet that's still your brother, and we have to maintain and we have to save faces. Egg did you no favors by bringing you in. He should have gotten me. And Egg chimes in, I didn't have time to get you, uncle. But baby, you set this man up, die. He's like, he wants your head, but I'm not going to give it to him. You can request a trial by combat. And so immediately Dunk is like, that's what we need to do. So we go into the hall with Arian, with Makar, with two other guys, and Baylor, of course. And it's very much like, I want a trial by combat, as is your right if you're being accused. And immediately Arian's like, no. And Makar's like, you a punk? You can't take it. You can't take this heat. You don't want to fight him. You don't want to do any of the things. And he's basically like, no, we're not doing that. He committed multiple crimes. And so he needs to face this on multiple fronts. I want a trial of 7. And so the trial of 7, we get an explanation of what that is. Although it hasn't happened in 100 years, you bring 7 nights, I bring 7 nights, and it's gang. All right. It's a gang fight. It's gang war. And of course, Dunk is like, I don't know nobody. I've been trying just to vie to get somebody to back me to be in the list all this time. And now you're saying I have to find 7 or 6 more knights to fight for me in this battle against the Kingsguard, some of the best knights in the realm, right? And it's like, this is what I want, and you're entitled to it. If your cause is just, the gods will bring you the help that you need. And so Dunk is hopeless at this point, and he gets to go and recruit because this battle is going to be at dawn. All this time, you guys, I'm so hoping that we're going to get a battle. I refuse to believe that this episode was 34 minutes. I refuse to believe it, and I'm so aggravated by it. Anyway, we see Fossaways. We see Raymond. He's been watching the horse. He gives Dunk a huge hug, and it's like, you're okay. You made it out. We'll figure this out. And so we get there, and then a cousin, Stefan, pops up, Raymond's cousin, Stefan Fossaway. And he's like, they have to pay. You did what was noble. Knights are supposed to protect the innocent, and you're not going to die. Not on my watch. You're going to be fine. And so Dunk is like, great, this is some help. He's like, I can get Lionel. I can get some other knights that I know. I will bring them. You're going to have your 7. You're going to be just fine. And so Dunk is still on edge. Immediately after that, Egg comes in and Darren right behind him. And Dunk tries to put Darren in a chokehold because why the hell would you tell that lie on me? Why would you do that? And basically, we get to have an alone moment with Dunk and Darren. And Darren basically really talks about not necessarily the weight or the burden of his gift, but you can definitely tell that that's why he stays drunk. That's why he stays in the shadows. And he also says in this conversation, he knows that he's doomed to some type of hell. Either here or beyond or wherever. He knows what his end is, but he also gives a dream or a prophecy to Dunk that basically says, I saw you, and I saw a dead dragon, and I saw the flames, and I saw everybody on top of you, but you were alive and the dragon was dead. And he's like, I don't know everything that means. And I don't know if the dragon's me. I don't know if it's there. I just know a dragon's dead and you're still alive and everything is going to work out in your favor, right? But he, again, is still bearing the weight of probably way more that he's dreamt, way more that he's seen, way more than he has going on. And if you, of course, the lore of the Targaryens, there's always a seer. There's always a seer. It seems in every generation, they're going to have someone who can see what's going on. And so Egg is there. You're going to need someone to suit you and all of that. We also get to see the blacksmith again. And the blacksmith has made all of his armor. We find out that Tansel, they want to try her for high treason. I say, y'all better not hang a black woman. That's all I got to say. Not during Black History Month. But Tansel has gone away to Dorne. She's fled, which she needed to do. And I hope she's there and I hope she stays safe. I'm very interested because in the previews for the next episode, we see a young Dunk, is what I'm assuming, and a young girl who favors Tansel. And I'm wondering if that's where the immediate love at first sight thing came in. But of course, we'll get to that at some point. We get back in, and basically Egg at this point is kind of explaining why he's here and why he'd rather be on Dunk's side than on his brother's. And we find out some of the abuses that he suffered at the hand of Arian. Not only has Arian killed the cat, damn it, he's also threatened to cut up little Egg and make him a girl so it could be his wife. Arian, we find out, believes that he is the dragon in human form and he can do whatever he wants to do. He can move however he wants to move. And that's why in the puppet show, when she took out the dragon, it was such an affront to him. What the hell? So we're getting there. We got the crew. Dunk goes out in the morning in all of his armor. And we have Dundarian, remember the one who played in his face earlier, but he got unseated by Arian just a couple of days ago or the day before, when the first day of the list. We also have Sir Robin Riesling, which I told y'all he was going to be back. One-Eyed Joker is there and ready to serve. He said, when the kingdom ain't right, you have to fight back. And I said, I know that's right. We also see Lionel roll up. We see another guy. I don't know who that other guy was, but he was over there with the horse. And of course, we think we have Sir Stefan and his people. Baby, he's like, Raymond, get my horse and everything. He's like, actually, you're not going to need just one. You're going to need two because they promised me a lordship. He said, if you buy me land, I'm going over there. So Stefan, damn all his promises. He said, men have traded their honor for way less than a lordship. I'm going over here where the money resides. So he leaves him, and now we're really stuck. Raymond is like, just knight me. Duncan, I ain't never knighted anybody. I ain't never really been knighted for real. And Lionel's, I'll handle this. You make your appeal to the people. And he's like, may I have the floor to make appeal? And he gives this great and lofty speech about honor and a knight's word and protecting the innocent and the vows that they take and anyone who stands up for right and for justice to follow him. A man gets up and lets it go. And why, I don't know the obsession with bodily functions from the showrunner. You're doing everything else so great. And maybe it's to add levity. I don't know. But anyway, so he's begging. We feel like that's our last hope. That's where I'm at. Lord, we're not going to do it. And if we don't get the 7, it's you're guilty. The gods have deemed you guilty because you couldn't rally the troops, right? Nobody's giving way. I off in the distance start hearing my song. I'm thinking I'm hearing it. We hear rapping on the gate. The gate opens in a man on his steed, honey, on his noble steed, rides in to save the day. And who is it? None other than my Baylor. Baby, I'm on your side. You got me. And let the gods decide, period. And then we get the full Game of Thrones. And it's the thing, and you can tell it's about to go down. I so wanted the battle to start. It gave me everything I needed, y'all. It gave me all of the things that I needed. I told y'all was Baylor the Just, and he's going to stand on big business and what's for right. And he knows what this means. Because I haven't finished the book yet. I stopped when the show came on. I will finish it immediately after. But this is really going to test the blood, right, of the Targaryens and that family dynamic. And it really begs the question, why would Baelor, he's next in line. He is hand to the king. He is all of those things. Why would he take this stance? Does he feel responsible because he knows that his family is unhinged and they do the most and they're just out to torture the people? Or is there this need to make things right? You know what I mean? And I think that could be more of it because he knows what's right and he knows what's fair and he knows Arian was wrong as hell. And I have to do something. I have to stand for what's right, no matter what that looks like on the back. Even Makar is, why would you do this? What are you doing? This is right. And let the gods decide what it is ultimately at the end of the day. I absolutely love that this was written for television by Hiram Martinez and Annie Julia Wyman and Ira Parker, directed by Sarah Adina Smith. Sarah, do your biggest ones. Adina girl. And I love watching the after show because she's always going to give her input, but she's really tapping into the emotion, who these characters are, right? Because you feel like you know who these people are. And I love that. I don't really know. I know Dunk's team is going to win, but I don't know what losses we're going to encounter. Drop it in the comments if you have any theories about who's going to be lost. I know somebody's going to be taken out because Arian is such a demon. He's going to go for blood, but he's too scared to fight Dunk. He ain't want that one-on-one action. And Dunk, I really am excited to see who he is on the battlefield. I'm pretty confident in everyone else. I also want to know who of the Kingsguard is going to be fighting. Is it going to be the 2 guys that we met earlier this season? And what are they going to do? because your Kingsguard, those are of the best. So I'm very interested to see what's going to happen. I loved this episode. It was so good. You guys don't forget, we will be back Monday night to discuss this episode ad nauseum. So be there or be square. If you enjoyed the video, please be sure to comment, subscribe, do all of the things, and I will see y'all in the next video. Thanks for watching.